Many times when I am at tastings or I listen to other wine professionals describe wines, one trap that it is very easy for us to fall into is to always compare wines to another fruit. Oh, this Pinot Noir tastes like, reminds me of strawberries. This Cabernet like cassis, and it's very, very easy. The reason for that is that each grape contains phenols, and these are basically chemical compounds that are also found in other fruits. And yes, indeed, some of them resemble each other. So when you taste the wine and you have this sensation, it also, your memory bank kicks in. You said, oh, I had this taste before. This was these black currants that I had, the cassis. So this is how you put these things together. I always believe that we're actually doing wine a little bit of injustice doing that. Wine is made from grapes. A grape is a grape, and it's not a strawberry and it's not a blueberry. So when I look at wines, when I evaluate wines for our portfolio, what I look at is the harmony in the wines. What I mean by harmony, if you look at the 5 basic components that make up the flavor profile of a wine, that is the natural fruit of the grape, the residual sugar, the sweetness, the acidity, the alcohol, and last but not least, the tannins. So what I look for is to make sure that these 5 components harmonize together, come up with a harmonious taste profile. It could be a light wine, it could be a medium-bodied wine, it could be a heavy wine, but those components have to work together where not one of them overpowers the other. And then you let your palate decide, do I like this taste profile or don't I like it? And that is the only thing really that should matter. And so how do you detect those 5 components? I do believe that the most difficult one, where we have the least amount of experience, we always talk about it, that is the tannin. My suggestion is to try to train your palate, bring it to a level where you can detect those 5 individual components. So let's take a look at the tannins. The way you can easily detect tannins, if you brew yourself a strong cup of black tea, or you get a piece of dark chocolate, and here I used 100% dark chocolate, something that is really not edible on its own. Oh wow, I wish I had some whipped cream with that. But right now I really only taste the bitterness and the tannins. And also the tannins, the way you detect it in your palate, that is what coats your tongue with this sensation of dryness. Acidity makes it wet, tannins make it dry. So let's check the tea. The water helps to balance it off a little bit, but once again, you can easily detect the bitterness, and it also gives you that drying sensation. So now, tannins is basically, these are nature's way for a plant to protect itself from being eaten prematurely. If the fruit is not in balance yet, other animals will simply stay away with it, or stay away from it. And tannins are a very valuable tool in all kinds of food production. You will find it in tea, you will find it in coffee, you will find it in chocolate, and most certainly you will find it in wine. It is what gives the wine backbone, ageability, amongst other things as well. But in order to take a tannic grape variety, such as, so the thicker skinned grapes tend to have more tannins than the thinner skinned grapes. Thinner skinned grapes are Gamay, Pinot Noir, for instance. Thicker skins are Nebbiolo, Cabernet Sauvignon, Tempranillo, Sangiovese, just to name a few. The tannins come from the skins, they come from the seeds, and they come from the stems, but they also come from the vinification treatment. You can pick up additional tannins into the wine through oak aging. The smaller the barrel, the more tannins you will pick up into the wine. So now, in order to bring this into balance, you need other ingredients to stand up. So you need wines with a little bit more alcohol content, with a higher fruit content, with some acidity, to create this harmony that I was talking about before. So now here, we always believe, and we do say, that the quality of the wine is determined in the vineyard. All of our partners practice low intervention vinification processes. But this is where the human touch is essential, and it is important. and where the integrity coupled with the skill level and the passion of a grower come into play. Timing of the harvest is essential in order to get the ripe tannins that can be so wonderful in the finished product. The way the way you determine that is you actually go into the vineyard, you break open the grape. If you see that the seeds are still green, you stay away from them. That means the time is not right. The tannins are not ripe enough. They're not mature enough. You break it open. You see that the seeds are brownish. Now it's time. That means the tannins are ripe and we're ready to go. So and then it depends on the grape variety, it depends on the vision of the grower, what they want to achieve with the final result. So what I brought for today's exercise is a wine from Rioja, known for the Tempranillo grape, which is one of these grapes that naturally have a higher tannin content than maybe others. But and it's also very often aged in oak up to 3-5 years. What they did with this particular one, the Puente Crijos from Don Balbino, it is a very interesting approach to softening the tannins with the Tempranillo grape. So what they're doing is they do a whole cluster fermentation, which is called the carbonic maceration, what you would also find in Beaujolais with a Gamay. They throw the whole clusters into an open tank. Fermentation starts spontaneously, and through the heat that is generated through the fermentation process, the grape clusters explode open, and you get color extraction and you get a tannin extraction, but a lot softer tannin extraction than if you were pressing the grapes in a conventional method. Then an additional step to add a little bit more fruitiness to the wine, they blend 82% of that particular Tempranillo with 18% of a white grape variety, which is called Villoa in Rioja. In other parts of Spain, it's called Macabeo. So when you smell the wine, you smell the softness, but you also with the combination of that wonderful freshness of the white wine. All the flavors work wonderfully together. It is a very harmonious wine. It is a lighter interpretation of the normally a little bit heavier, more tannic style of Tempranillo. Different horses for different courses. Depending on the meal, I see that working very well with cedar blanc salmon, other seafoods, a charcuterie plate, a red sauce pasta dish goes rather well with that. So this is today's lighter style of harmony for me. I hope you have a chance to try it, and we all need a little bit of harmony in our life. Cheers.